який поділиться своїм досвідом, як зробити вирощування овочів настільки рентабельним, наскільки воно є на його батьківщині, і наскільки це можливо в умовах України. Пан Кейз Коелман.
Thank you very much for listening to me. I want to speak today about growing niche vegetable crops in eastern Ukraine, the challenges and opportunities. I don't know what's happening now, but niche vegetables is an opportunity to diversify your farming and to spread your risk, because you will sell it to different markets with different opportunities. It's also a sustainable business model because you are not focusing only on the cash crops but also on vegetable growing. And on the midterm, it will certainly improve your profitability and financial performance of your company. And also it's a better usage of the available resources which you have, and it's a challenging road to global farming, and it will give you more satisfaction. What I did in my model is that you're transforming your farm gradually from 2% vegetable farming to 10% vegetable farming. The revenue split which you have between the cash crops and the vegetables, the first year you will have 8% of your revenue will come from vegetables. At the end of the day, in year 5, 40% can come from your vegetable growing. If you look at the revenue development, that is a different story. So in year 1 today, with it's 100 only cash crops, it will gradually grow up. With only 10% of your surface using for vegetable growing, your revenue can grow to 150%. So you have 50% more sales from your farming. So today on the agenda will be the new trends and developments on the European markets. What does it take to be competitive into today's consumer markets, the value chain, the business planning, the possibility. I will focus on the workforce because that's very important, the land selection, the land preparation, the crop selection, and also the financials, because you need to finance it. Then I go to the route to vegetable farming to add more value to your fresh produce. And of course the route to the market, at the end of the day you have to sell the product. New trends and at the European markets. The first thing is the people in the Western world want to have convenience. That means semi-prepared and portioning. So it's not only that it is cut and make it ready for cooking, but it's also portionized for 1, 3 or 4 persons. Attractive packaging. People buy with their eyes, and that is very important. The freshness of the product. What's happening over here? Oh yeah. The freshness of the product and reliability in quality and supply. So the customer want to have always the same taste of your vegetables, and you have to be also reliable in the supply. So don't deliver only today and tomorrow you say, oh, crop is not good, maybe next week. That doesn't work at all. People want to be sure that they get the stuff. Be competitive in consumer good markets. The first thing is consumer focus. So what are the consumers' needs? What do they want? And why do they want it? So those questions you have to answer for yourself before you're entering in the consumer market. Then you know what the consumer wants and why they want it. Then the route to the market. In the fresh produce is the logistic chain, very important, and of course the cold chain. It has to be chilled, so no problems in that chills. And nowadays, you have to be efficient and market-orientated production. So if you think, my customer wants to eat cauliflower, so I produce a lot, and the market doesn't absorb it, it will be a failure. So always be aware what the market wants. And don't produce too much and efficient, because the consumer is expecting a reasonable price which is efficient produced. Here you see some developments. On the left you see how cauliflower is grown and sold, and that's how it's done nowadays, with only the flowers packed in a tray. With broccoli, you see how it's coming from the field, nicely cut. Lately it was in plastic packaging, now it's portionized and already cut. So the people at home doesn't have to do any work, only to boil it. The same with green beans. On the left side, the mechanical harvested green beans. In the middle, the French beans, vertical grown. And on the right side, you see them already head and tails off and cut. The same you see with garlic. That's how they come from the field, very nice, factory size. And nowadays, the cloves are packed in a very nice carton, so the people don't have to peel it themselves. Value chain. Here you see an example of the value chain, how you do it. So the first thing is, I have to look because my Russian is not too good. The first part is the input from the suppliers, so the seeds, or in this case the cloves which you are planting. The second thing is the production, that's you. How do you produce your fresh produce? Because that's very important, that you're adding value to it. But then let's go to the market, the packing, the cold storage, etc. That's a very crucial part of the value chain. And of course, the distribution to the market. How do you bring it to the market, to the consumer? And here you see from growing, and here you see the cloves packed in a different packaging. Here we go. Again. So how can you? Yes. How can you improve the value chain? The first thing is improvement is implement the consumer values. But the consumers are just like little kids; they want lots of things. So you have to make it priorities. Which are the priorities which you want to add in your value chain? And be realistic now and in the future. Not everything can be done in one time, and maybe some things will be very difficult. And draft a plan how to implement the value chain improvements with all actors in the chain. Not only looking at yourself, but look for good partners in the chain that you improve. And add value to your products only when the consumer is willing to pay for it. Because if the consumer is not willing to pay for an improvement, don't do it, because it's a waste of time and a waste of money. This is a field of garlic. So one thing, very important, vegetable growing is labor intensive. Where is that thing? So the availability of workforce in which period of the year you have to investigate. Another thing is, with your business planning, the quality of the land. You have to investigate the quality of the land. The target is 10% vegetable growing on your farm, but you need 20% surface for it, because you need crop rotation. And for crop rotation, don't use corn as crop rotation, because it only brings lots of fungus in the ground. Use wheat. And select 20% of the available land. Vegetable growing is a highly nutrition consumption cultivation. So you need good land. Then I come to the crucial part, workforce. Well, the picture is gone. Workforce planning is very crucial. For 10 hectares of growing green beans vertical, you need 20 people for daily harvesting. So every day harvesting and every day maintaining the land, keep it free from weed. And make a good growing and harvesting plan with the different vegetables in line with the available people. So if you're planning a vegetable, always look if you have the people available. Otherwise it's a no-brainer, no-go. And garlic growing can be very supportive to vegetable growing because you have your storage and your packaging in the winter, and you can use in the off-season also your people. The business planning for the selection. So identify what I said earlier, 20% of your the best available land, the best quality, water. Vegetable growing needs water for irrigation, and what the hell is going on? And the logistic optimal for workers and storage. Test the selected surface, because this is very important. Know what the quality of your land is. So check it on the nutrition and the pH, etc. And the selected land in combination with the results connected with the vegetable growing plan, because every vegetable needs a different nutrition. It has a different nutrition need. No, I do it then like this. So what I just said, the fertilizer calculation is very important. Test results on one side and the selected vegetable on the other side. Land preparation. Make the soil ready for sowing on time. Don't do it too late. Prepare it properly. And make the borders of the land and the entrance free of weed before, during and after the crop. Because if you don't do it, you're losing 10% of your yield. And plan the irrigation, drip irrigation or spray. It's a little bit depending on what your possibilities are financially and technical and which crop you're growing. This is another sheet. Vegetable crop selection. That depends on, of course, what does the customer want? Because if you're going to grow a vegetable where no market for it, it's a no-go. And what's technical feasible at your farm? And crop rotation possibilities. That are the key ingredients. Select a few crops and specialize. Don't do everything. Just specialize on certain crops. For instance, you do cauliflower and garlic, or you do broccoli and beans. And for instance, for the beans, if you grow them vertical, that can be a 60 to 90 day crop. So that is a long harvest time. And if you do cauliflower, you harvest it once. Only there, the customer wants to have the cauliflowers every day from you. So you have to select the early, medium and late varieties of that vegetable. And you have to make the planning. And make and grow vegetables where you have something with, where you have affinity to. I will never grow Brussels sprouts because I hate the vegetable. Financials. That's very interesting. Make a 5-year plan and grow gradually. Don't do it at one time. The first year, the investment, depending on the investment to improve your soil quality. Don't forget that can be very costly. And special equipment for the vegetable growing and harvesting. And of course, you have to pack it nicely, etc. So grading, packaging and storage investments will be there. After the first year, your capital expenditure and operational expenditure needs for the next year should be possible to have it financed out of the free cash flow from the first year for the second year. And if everything goes a little bit according to plan, after 3 years you have a sustainable financial performance at your farm. That should be possible. Yes. Route to vegetable farming. Don't do it. Do it in steps with a long-term planning, what I said before. And do not underestimate the capital expenditure and operational expenditure. Vegetable farming is expensive, much more expensive maybe 10 times more than cash crops. And when you select the vegetables, look also at multi-usable equipment for planting, harvesting, spraying, etc. And implement global gap certification, because the hygiene at the farm is very crucial for vegetable growing. And last but not least, educate the people, because it's a complete different mindset vegetable growing than cash crops. It's intensive farming, so you have to be playing shorter on the ball, and you cannot be relaxed. It's much more work per hectare than for cash crops. Then, seeds of seedlings. That's just if you're a Catholic or Protestant. One believes in seeds, I believe in seedlings. But anyhow, with seeds, you have a low input cost, for sure. Irregular growing, and the germination can be less. With seedlings, much more expensive. But you have a better root development and a less usage need for pesticides or fertilizer, and it is environmental, that's a little environmental gain. On top of that, if you use seedlings, you can be earlier on the market with your vegetables than if you use seeds. And that can be very important. Here you see, for instance, seedlings for cauliflower growing. That's how it goes. Planting machine. That's how it looks, the growing and the harvesting. I have to check, because my yield. The average yield, and I look a little bit at the professor, for vegetables is around 40% less than in the rest of Europe. Okay, that's it. But that's what we don't want to be happening with us in the eastern Ukraine, so we're going to catch up. So you have to be more professional in your cultivation. The farm hygiene awareness has to pick up. So cleanness, clean tractors, clean, everything clean. And that is very, very important. But the awareness of everyone, from the people in the field till the management, must be there. And fertilizer, dear friends, is not a cost. It's an investment for a better yield. And discipline. I cannot say too much. Discipline in the field with vegetables is very important. You have to be aware of it. And you have it has to be in your genes. Adding value to the fresh produce. First thing is careful harvesting and post-harvest handling. Because the vegetables the quality will go down if you don't handle it properly. The appearance of the vegetables is very important. Cool storage improves the shelf life. So if you harvest it, bring it in your cool storage. Of course, the packaging, it has to look nice, and the portioning is also a part of it. And last but not least, but that's more my background, if I would grow vegetable beans or cauliflower, I would certify them in barrels and with on acid and salt, and you can have a shelf life of the product. And when you sell it, you're just deacidifying it, and you have a nice pickled vegetable for the winter time. And that will bring you good money. Route to the market. Identify all the actors from the farm to the consumer. So just make sure, if I grow my cauliflower and I want to bring it to the Kiev market, the Kharkov market, how many people are involved? And qualify all the actors on the added value. Is the consumer willing to pay for it? So if a certain middleman is not really useful to the chain, skip him. After above assessments, you select your partners in the chain, and you select them on a few very important things. The reliability, because you want to deliver always. You want to be sure that it's okay. Technical, the cold chain security and efficiency. That is very important for the vegetables. And of course the financial. Does the guy pay you on time? Otherwise it's no use. Then route to the market. Let's see, it's a bit different than it. The first thing, it's very important to be successful. Be always embarrassed of your first delivery, even if your customer is happy. That means that you're never satisfied with the quality you deliver yourself. You want to be better every next day. You want tomorrow better than today. That is the key issue to be successful in business and especially in the fresh produce. So continuous improvement of your performance is really, really important. And establish a solid and sustainable local market. First start at your local market and then spread. And expand step by step to the major vegetable markets in the Ukraine. Route to the market, explore export possibilities. First to the neighboring markets. Don't go to look at France when you're first passing by to Czech Republic, Romania, Poland, whatever. Identify the actors and the needs. So there are lots of importers who are just for a little profit. Look for your actors and make a relationship with them. And develop step by step the possibilities. And go market by market, not all the markets at once. And don't build your business on spot opportunities in the export market. Because today you can have a good price, tomorrow he doesn't know you. And if you do that, if you're looking too much to the spot market, you have a big opportunity to destroy you very carefully built up local business partners. And that's not, because at the end of the day, your local market is the key of your success. Some other vegetables which you can do, in my opinion over here, is fennel, leek, celeriac and Brussels sprouts, but I will not do it because I don't like the product. Thank you very much for your attention. And now they want to have questions.
Я розумію, що є питання до експерта з овочів.
Здравствуйте. Здравствуйте. В моей практике было участие как агрохимика в предприятии по выращиванию салата. Предприятие проработало 3 года и закрылось. По какой причине? Все тех моментов, которые вы указывали, мы специализировались на выращивании салатов, непосредственно, исключительно салатов. Но в нашей ситуации нас сломало что?